Hello there, greetings everybody. Welcome here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're here with the Forward Champion. Yes, the show that I've been running. I think this is the 16th episode. I'm not 100% sure, but it will be the last one. Yes, the show is coming to an end. I decided once AC/DC won last week's battle, they got their 5th victory, and they go on to the Grand Championship, which we'll be holding tonight. There's no time left. There's not enough weeks in the year left to do get another fiver. So the only album, I believe, the only time that there wasn't a fiver was when Black Sabbath beat out. I want to say it was Iron Maiden. I can't remember who it was, but Black Sabbath won, and then the next week they lost. And that's the only time that one album that won the Forward Championship actually didn't win 5 in a row. So the 3 that did win 5 in a row are all here tonight and are going to compete for the Grand Championship. And of course, that will all depend on you lovelies out there and in the YouTube land, on what you think is the better of the 3 albums. Okay, so we'll do them according to we'll do them in chronological order from them in which they won their championship. So the first one is Supertramp's Crime of the Century. Won 5 times, beat out some strong albums too. I think this was no, maybe it wasn't. Okay, great album. As many of you know who've listened to this album, it has really good production, really clear sound. It's a really well made, well put together album with 8 fantastic tracks. So basically what you have for the tracks are either really good or super great or excellent. There's no real bad tracks on here. The only one that I find is not as memorable, and it's not that it's a bad track, it's just not as memorable as the other ones, is If Everyone Was Listening. That's the only song, but the rest of the songs, Rudy, Dreamer, Asylum, Crime of the Century, Hide in Your Shell is very underrated, that song. Bloody Well Right in School. This is a classically, almost a perfect album in many ways. And I like the cover. I'm not really sure why they're dressed like this for this video, but they are. Anyways, I love the album cover. I think this is probably their best album, I think. And it's just proliferated with fantastic stuff. Came out in 1974. The albums that it's going up against. So the number 2 album to win 5 in a row. This one actually beat out a Fragile, which really surprised me. Gentle Giants. Oh, that's upside down. Acquiring the Taste. It's a very, very odd cover indeed. One of the weirdest looking covers ever. And it gives you thoughts that you don't really want to be thinking about while you're doing this. So this is another album like Crime of the Century. The sound isn't as good, but it's still really good. Lots of really progressive sounds on here. This album sounds like no other album, in my opinion. I've not encountered an album that is so different, even by prog standards. And the one song that isn't really proggy, which is Black Cat, I love. It's fantastic. There's so many different sounds on here that it's almost hard to get bored of this album, I find. I had to take it off the playlist, and it was on the playlist for more than a year, which is, I don't think I've had maybe 3 albums in the entire history of my playlist that have lasted as long on the playlist as this has. But I find with Gentle Giant, I think part of the reason that they won their 5 in a row is because they are really well loved on the YouTube channel by those prog people that come on here and do their own stuff, and the people that watch all those shows. This is a band that is big with those people. If you were to ask anybody on the street, 99% of the people would have no idea who this is. They wouldn't. But the people on this channel, they love these guys. and I happen to be one of them. So that's the second album. So the third album isn't a prog album, but nevertheless is a great album. I love this cover. These guys look like they're ready to ready to rumble, as they say. Are you ready to rumble? Yeah, that's them. Highway to Hell just won its fifth. Beat out some pretty strong albums. I thought it would have a harder time against Thin Lizzy. I thought it would have a harder time against Salisbury. And it squeaked out a few wins, but it still is here because it's such a great album, you know. All the tracks on it are fantastic. Well, most part, I think. Not too much weakness on this album at all. And this is the band pulling it all together and then falling apart and pulling it all back together again. Amazing. Yeah. So Highway to Hell is the third album on this list. I'm going to hold them all up if I can. See if I still have my waiter talents from years ago. Okay. Last one. There we go. So there you go. There's the three albums. AC/DC's Highway to Hell, and Gentle Giant. Well, actually, that should probably go like this. Or maybe it's like this. Yeah, difficult album to figure out. So you got Gentle Giant's Acquiring the Taste, AC/DC's Highway to Hell, and Supertramp's Crime of the Century. You pick them. You tell me which one you guys like the best. Who's going to be the grand champion on this forward champion? And it's been it's been fun doing this, but I wanted to use the time for something else. And so next week on this night, we will have What's New. We'll move to the Thursday night, and the Tuesday night will stay open for the time being, because I'm planning a couple of new series that I'm kind of getting myself hyped up about to come in the new year. One of them is going to be called Album Sides. The other one will be called The Prog World, which is basically going to be similar to metal, but it'll be with progressive rock. So I'm going to take a band and kind of do the same thing I do with metal, but maybe a little bit more in depth, maybe a little bit more of their history, maybe a little bit more discussion about the members of the band. I don't know enough about, I don't feel as comfortable or as strong with metal, so that's why I don't do as much of that with that. But I do feel a lot more comfortable with progressive rock, so we'll be doing a kind of show on progressive rock elements, and it'll be a bi-weekly one as well, because those ones take longer, so I like to have the couple weeks to put them together. There will be another show that will probably alternate with it, just not sure what it's going to be yet. But anyways, so this will be the final episode of Forward Champion, so please cast your votes for one of these three guys. Let's see which one's going to end up the grand champion. And leave any other comments you have about the albums below, how you felt about this series, whether you think if I was to do something like this again, what you think might be a good way to go about it. And anyways, otherwise hit the like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. Hit the notification bell so you don't forget about content on the show. And we will see you again next Thursday for What's New. Take care.